All right, now there's 3 steps. We keep it really simple, all right? There's 3 steps or 3 things that we need to do.
There are 3 things we're going to talk about today, right?
No, I'm going to mention them and then...
And how we do them. One is how we surreptitiously elicit a state, right? That seems natural in conversation and gets a very good state for what you want them to do or what you want to accomplish, the action you want them to take.
And eliciting that state in a very conversational way.
Right.
Okay. Now, with state elicitation, and then there's setting the trigger, the actual trigger that you're going to set the anchor off on.
Right.
Okay. A lot of times in NLP trainings, it'll be touch the shoulder, do this, all right. You can't do that in the real world. All right.
We actually do it a little differently, yeah. So.
Okay, so setting the trigger, and then the third part, which a lot of people kind of skip, is how to use that anchor to get maximum influence and persuasion.
Right.
Okay, because I met so many people that learned how to anchor, and they just walk up and fire an anchor and make people feel good. Okay? The other part is you have to attach that trigger to where you want them to go.
Right.
You can't just make someone feel good and hope that they connect that to you.
Right.
Okay? So we're going to be covering these 3 steps, okay? Okay, so step 1, eliciting the state. The big mistake people make is they think they know what somebody else has to feel, all right, in order to make a decision. Okay, you'll walk up and somebody will buy a car. Well, I'll elicit a state of excitement.
Right.
Okay, and
you don't know, because for all you know, the person could have a car that breaks down all the time. It's a feeling of relief. It's a feeling of safety. It's a feeling of comfort to have a new car. You don't know what the person needs to feel to make a decision. And that is in sales, in social situations. You don't know why someone takes a vacation, why they do something socially. So if you want to set an anchor, you're best doing what we call using an empty bucket elicitation. It means that you set up what they need to be able to want to do something without mentioning what emotion they need to do that, right?
Yeah.
What emotion they need to feel to do that. And we'll give some examples. I know that sounds very odd, but what we never do is mention an emotion.
Yeah. And I know when I was, first teaching this to people, we were, we developed this over 20 years, you've got to figure, so we made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, of course. We have.
The idea is that if you think about this emotional part of the brain, okay, that empty bucket, that perfect feeling, not perfect, but that good feeling that they have, is generally never one emotion, okay? So...
It's a mix.
It's a mixture.
I mean,
so
we just do that. When we think about how we describe emotions, really, if we say we're afraid, it's not just afraid. We can be afraid, uncertain, and kind of angry maybe.
Powerless, helpless.
But most of the time, we take things down to a very simple element, one word, and something that is very a common word. But so when you go for an emotion like that, an anchor, you're not getting all of it. You're not getting a great emotion.
No.
Because it's always a mix.
Like an example.
And in persuasion, you want something that you can use, which is going to make them take action in a direction. So.
Yeah. So, the right emotion, like I said, might be a combination. So, if you ask someone if they're buying a car, you're asking them, what do you want in a car, whatever, okay? It's going to be a mixture of several different states, okay? That's what actually constructs their reality of their decision-making process. To try to isolate that to just one word, you will change, you'll start erasing stuff out of here, and it won't fit perfectly. Okay? That's the whole idea between the empty bucket. Believe me, it's a lot easier than you think.
Right. I mean, it doesn't mean that you have to get them you grill them and figure out what states they're feeling. This is just an example to show you're not getting the best state if you just go for what you think is going to be. Right.
So let me give you an example. If I asked everyone out there, I don't know how many of you buy a new car, but think of something that you want to buy. And if I ask you, have you ever been really excited about buying a car? All right? You can kind of, if you force yourself into the state of excitement, you can, but it's not just right. Okay? If instead I say, only you know what a good car, what having a new car will do to help you, and you know how that feels. You effortlessly flow into that feeling. Okay? You effortlessly, oh yeah, I get that. Now I haven't put a label on it, but that emotion is there.
Right.
Okay? That emotion will be tailored to that person. Now the cool part about this is if you're talking to two people, all right, you ask them both that same question, they will both have a different set of emotions.
And you can anchor them both at the same time.
And you can still use one trigger to set that anchor on.
Right.
And you can anchor them both. So, but when you do that, if you just ask for excitement, this one might be excited. This one might just not want a junk car anymore.
Right.
And they're frustrated and they need to move on.
Now you're going on to lecturing anchoring, and that's it. Now you're going on to anchoring in a meeting, and that's pretty good too.
Yeah, okay.
But that's
you get
another
the idea.
subject.
If you're talking to, when you're talking to persuasion, especially now, very rarely are you talking to just one person.
Okay.
Somebody else is going to be in the process. Okay.
Right.
And if like I said, if you assume excitement, it screws this all up.
Right.
And it's just not right. Okay. And we have a list of. If you go onto the Persuasion Codes, the Facebook group, we always have stuff on there when you talk about elicitations.
Well, we can also send some empty bucket elicitations.
Yeah.
Put some up or send some to them. A list. But just keep, all it means is that you're eliciting a state without mentioning a state. That is more tailored to them. So they get to feel what works for them and what feels natural. And setting a trigger.
Because you talk about it.
Without having to interview them and feel like you're grilling them.
Yeah, the good part about this is you're leading them. You're not asking them like 5 or 6 questions and doing, all that stuff.
Okay.
All right, so, all right, the next step.
No, yeah. I mean, and in elicitation, we have to mention what we're not doing, right? Oh, well, I guess that's part of the trigger as well, right?
Yeah, what?
Is making them in a peak state.
Yeah, well, that's the next part.
Yeah, so we'll work on that in the trigger.
Okay,